It's Sunday, and I am cold. Trying my best to stay cozy in these terrible temperatures. I had an old friend visit, I think it was 2 nights ago, that I hadn't seen in a while. We were like best friends in high school, and now he is married and he has a baby, which is crazy, a newborn. So they were over and it was really nice. We got to chat. It was a great conversation. And my housemate Andrew was there. And he had a job for a while to inspect houses to see how, I guess, like old houses to see how well protected they are against like the elements, basically. You know what I mean? Like windows and walls, doors. I don't know, those kinds of things. And my room has been really cold and like colder than the rest of the house. And I've chalked it up to it's probably because my heater is under my bed so that it doesn't really get to the rest of the room. But what's weird is in the summer, my room seems to be hotter than the rest of my house. And I've always chalked it up to, oh, it's because I have a PC that is like a little heater that I run a lot. Uh, but that would make me think that in the winter, it would make my room feel warmer than the rest of the house. So I had him check out my room, and it turns out under my floor is probably not properly insulated because the porch is right next to my room and there's nothing under the porch, so there's nothing under my room because it's a crawl space. So my floor is literally either heating or cooling my room, like passively, because of the air temperature that's under it, which is pretty crazy. Last night I was feeling a little anxious, feeling a little sad. You know how it goes. And it kind of carried into this morning. So I woke up and I went for a drive. I've been practicing just like letting my mind breathe. I've been listening, or I watched and listened to a lot of Alain de Botton, I think is how his name works. ALAINDEBUTTON. Alain de Botton. He does really awesome stuff. He talks about love and relationships, and he talks about the weirdness that all of us have and how all of our weirdness is just how we are, you know, and we just adjust as we go. I mean, that is an incredibly simplified way of putting it, but that on the back of what I had learned on attachment theory and whatnot has been really helpful. So a part of that is just allowing my brain, whatever's in there, to just have space to just like talk to me, if that makes sense. It's like letting my brain breathe. So lately, I've just been listening to less music, watching less videos, like being super honest about exactly like just how I'm feeling about stuff. You know, for example, you know, I'm a little worried that today will feel cruddy because it's my last day of vacation. And that's frustrating, even though it's not over. That is an example of like, I just feel that way, you know, even if cognitively I can argue against it, it's just my experience. And so I've been doing a lot of that. And this morning I drove around and I wasn't going to get any coffee. I wasn't going to get anything like that. And then after driving around a minute and letting just myself like process stuff, I came around and was feeling a little better, and I was like, you know, I want to treat myself. So I changed my mind. I got some coffee. I got a big coffee today. It's funny that I happened to be drinking one of these on my second video because in the first video I talked about it, but I've been doing a lot better lately. I haven't actually been going to scooters very much um, over the past several weeks. And then also I got one of these, which is an everything bagel, which is probably a little bit cooled down at this point. But it's like an everything bagel with sausage and egg and cheese. It's gas, dude. I love those. This last weekend, was it this last weekend? Yeah, I got back on Tuesday morning. That's insane. It's Sunday now. I went to PAX Unplugged. Woo! Check it out. It was so fun. I had a media badge. You can see it says content creator, representing the paper dungeon and myself. And a part of my responsibility with that is to make content about PAX Unplugged. So I gotta do that. Maybe I'll work on that today. I think that would make me feel pretty good. But I went with my sweetie, and it was such a great time. She filmed videos on. She had like a bingo sheet, and we went around and interviewed, different booths and different owners and creators of games and things. It was such a blast. She's Lemony Emmy, by the way, if you want to follow her on TikTok and stuff. Um, but that was a really great time. I got to spend time with friends who I had met in the past, but this time we actually got to like spend time with them. It was amazing. I think the people down there are fantastic. And I was able to say this at Hot Pot. We went to like the best hot pie I'd ever felt or I'd ever experienced. It's when you have like a bowl of hot broth that's constantly being heated and you like drop different ingredients like meat and veggies and other special things in there and then it cooks and then you can pull it out and like eat it. It's so good. Super fun experience. And at that table we got to have some cool conversations and one of the things that I said was when it comes to moving, which I hope to move to Philadelphia at some point, when it comes to moving, it has huge implications on your future and who you're becoming. You know what I mean? It's especially about the relationships that you'll have in those places, the people that you'll be surrounded around. And the more time I spend in Philadelphia, even though it is like more diverse and there's like more art is celebrated and there's like conventions for things I enjoy and there's more music and there's more schooling opportunities with like sociology, which is something I want to pursue. And it has a rich history. Despite all of those awesome things, and my partner is there, I was realizing the more I spent time with the people there that these people are genuinely good people to spend, I think, to spend my life with, at least for a time. Um, I'm increasingly like confirmed or reassured that like if I were to go there, that the people I'd surround myself with would be good people that I can connect with, that I'd grow with, that I could have good relationships with. And so that's really meaningful, I think. And it makes me feel even more okay with moving. And on that topic too, like ideally for my job on their end for organizing, ideally our campaign is trying to wrap up in like June of this next year. It's December of 2025. Ideally that happened in like June of 2026. Um, but it depends on jobs and things. I might end up moving earlier than that. But at the same time, I've had to pay a lot for my car being fixed. I haven't had to, but I've gone on a couple trips to Philadelphia. And now my savings are pretty much depleted because of my car and those things. And I was very responsible in saving for those things. And I've been paying down debt like a madman all year. But now it's time where it's like, if I actually want to move, time to really put money away in savings. So it also depends on that. But my whole goal with moving is find a place where I can live, find a job that is tolerable, that will pay for that place to live. And then once I'm there, I can just, I can figure it out. Um, and something that was cool at PAX is I was talking to people asking about their businesses, their jobs, and I got some contacts, which is nice in the gaming space as well as in sort of the political space. And there is some overlap. For example, there's like this anarchist bookstore that's volunteer run that it basically has books that are like anti-capitalist and stuff like that. And it's a totally volunteer run. And they have like music performances and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's right up my alley. And so I'm pretty sure that's like volunteer run. So I don't know if there's a job there. But my point being is like there are these two things that are like happening at the same time in certain roles. And I think that'd be super great. But I'm open to anything. I think it would also just be fun to work at like I don't know, a game store or a small creative team somehow. But I'm open-minded. Um, Anyways, another cool thing about PAX is I got a Pokemon binder. which is pretty fun. I finally have a binder for my Pokemon cards. I put them all in upside down. So I'm going to have to change that, but here's a sneak peek. Here are some of my Pokemon. Look at the big Pikachu and the Eevee. I love them. I also have a cool Sandygast, which is right there. Yeah. I have more, but anyways, and I have some, like, I have a ton of stacks. Like, this is one of like 3 stacks of Pokemon cards you gotta go through, but that's pretty fun too. Um, yeah, I've also been getting back into streaming, which is cool. I've been streaming Night in the Woods. It's funny, it was over a year. It was over a year between my first stream of Night in the Woods and my second one, which is crazy. It's crazy how time just flies. But I've been streaming again, and I want to finish that game by the end of the year. The problem for me is I want to make these streams into videos, but I either don't have the energy or the capacity or whatever you want to call it, the emotional endurance to like actually sit and make those videos. But streaming, that's another thing. I can stream. I can stream all the time if I wanted to. So I've been working on my VODs channel for Philo Grant, which has like 70 something or maybe more VODs that haven't been uploaded. So I've been going back and like making thumbnails and changing some titles and trying to get the newer ones uploaded slowly but surely. It's more at work than I expected. Another downside is for the paper dungeon. For the paper dungeon, we intended to release a horror miniseries that we recorded back in May and October. And the amount of work that had to be put into it, paired with like Aaron moving and just life being hard, you know, like was a undertaking that we thought we'd be ready for, but we weren't. And so it wasn't released this year, which is crazy to think about. But again, time goes fast and life happens. It's a little tough because, I mean, we had a Kickstarter, and that was one of the things we were excited about. And so it's a little bit tough because there's like, we want to put out good stuff and we also want to be kind to ourselves, and we don't have a team. So it's like figuring that balance out. And honestly, we're just like kind of doing things as we can, which works to a degree, but I think there's some more effort that can be put in on that department too. So, all that being said, I'm excited about the possible future of the podcast. I wasn't clear. This is the Dungeons and Dragons podcast that I'm on, that I started with some friends. And so I'm excited about this next year, though, because something that I want to do, I want to talk about maybe diving into different TTRPGs for different planets and different like storylines in our long-term campaign. Like we are D&D 5e, but I think that would be fun, first of all, which is the most important thing. I think we'd have fun with it. I think Aaron would have fun with it, our DM. I think the players would have fun with it. I think the listeners would have fun with it. And also, I feel like it would be something unique that we can do. I think, and I say this all the time, but I think like as time goes on, my capacity and our capacity to really take on the things that we want to accomplish will continue to grow. You know, work is a learning curve for me. Work is a challenge for me right now in community organizing. There's a lot of like leveling up in terms of like diligence and amount of work we're doing and consistency, that can feel out of my depth, but all of it is really working towards, you know, my own growth and also the success of the organization, which is important. Super important. I think the most recent thing I've learned about that is that the organization, the Nebraska Organizing Project, exists in service of people coming together to make a change happen. That's organizing. Organizing is people coming together saying that they want a change to happen and putting pressure on the people who can make that change happen. And for the longest time, I'm like, oh, we need to do this and that and that and that and that and the other thing so that the Nebraska Organizing Project can succeed. There's an element of truth to that, but more importantly, it's like people care about this and people want to come together to make a change happen. And in order to do that, we need the organization to exist in service of that. And this might not sound very profound, but for me, who's been practicing this for over 2 years, like 2.5 years now, If it's very profound. It makes me feel like it is more personal, more human, more about what people care about and want to see happen, and not just about this is a job and an organization that we need to keep running. It's different. It has a different heart to it. So, all that to say about work is like it's also good. There's a good curve here, which is like it's very personal. It's very human, which is nice. So, yeah, it's an interesting time in my life, you know. I am going into this winter feeling like there's a little bit more, like I'm loosened up a little bit, like there's just more of an opportunity to engage with the things I enjoy, which is good. I've healed a lot this year, just learning stuff, figuring it out, being in the trenches, which has been good. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I don't want this to seem like cliche, like a cliche inspirational thing or anything. I just feel like that's legitimately where I'm at. And it even boils down to like I'm recording this episode with an incredibly messy room. You know what I mean? And in the past, I would be like, I need my room to look perfect. But now it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just another day. It's just me. Heyo. Just me here. So that's that. I need to get better at just sitting down in front of the camera and talking about stuff. So there you go. I hope this was enjoyable to listen to. I'll see you guys in the next one.